Hey guys, today I am here to talk about gratitude and also why you need a gratitude practice. Okay, so to start, let's talk about why gratitude is important. So I'm not really super sciencey with this stuff. I kind of get some of the things, but there's a lot of science out there that explains why gratitude is important, but I'll give you my take today. So first off, for me, gratitude just feels really good. When I'm feeling grateful, it's an amazing feeling, right? And I think gratitude is a little bit different from feeling successful or accomplished or like achieving something, because those are things you could potentially do just by yourself. But to me, gratitude is actually tied with other people. The other thing with gratitude is wipes out negative emotions, at least in that moment, right? So what I mean by that is when you're feeling grateful, you can't feel sad, you can't feel depressed, you can't feel angry, right? Maybe you're shifting between the two as you're building a gratitude practice, but they can't coexist. So if you're in a bad state, people say, hey, shake it off, get into a better vibration or whatever it is, like language that you like to use. That's what gratitude can do for you. And so developing that can help you shift path. And then the third thing is, because I'm feeling better and I'm feeling grateful towards other people and other things, I just think better. Think about it, when you're in a happy mood, when you're feeling good, right? Aren't you more creative? Aren't you more flexible? Aren't you more understanding? Like, all these better traits in me come out when I'm grateful. And so those are, to me, the reasons why I think gratitude is really important. So in terms of starting your gratitude practice, the logistics behind it is really up to you. There's no right or wrong, but what I want to focus on today is 4 general categories when exploring what to be grateful for. Category number 1, things that are going good already. So this is the more obvious category. When people ask you, what are you thankful for? What are you grateful for? Those are the things that are like, hey, my job is going well. I just got a promotion, right? My marriage is going well. I've been taking a lot of time off, right? Things like that, right? So for me, it is reflecting a lot on the relationship with my son. He's still really young right now, and so I'm always really grateful for any time they get to have with him, play with him. Even if he's more whiny or crying or something like that, like those are moments that I really, really treasure, because I know the time's gonna fly by really fast. Also, other things, having a roof over your head, having food to eat, maybe just being able to go out and have nice meals. These are things that are obvious to you and tend to come up first. Category number 2, the things you take for granted. Things that are maybe less obvious, and obviously they're not even on our radar, right? It just totally flies over our head when it comes to thinking about what are you grateful for. Earlier when I said having food on the table, maybe you're looking at your friend's social media or pictures of something and they're going to these fancy cruises or vacations or nice restaurants with all this good food there, and you're like, man, like I wish I could have good food, not realizing that you have food, and that is a great thing because not everyone gets to eat. And another example that I thought of was complaining about your job. It's like, man, my boss sucks, or this really stinks, or something like that. But at least you have a job. You end up taking that job for granted. You end up taking the food you have to eat for granted. And that even breaks down into the smaller things. And this is something I'm still building up for myself, right? But this idea that, are you thanking your heart for beating or your lungs for helping you breathe? Because we don't actively have to think about it. That's how our whole body is set up, right? It just works on its own, at least for those components, the things that keep us alive. And so how often are you grateful that just alive and your body's taking care of things? The third category here are the unknown things. So the thing that got me thinking about this at first, actually, I was driving, and if you're in Northern California and all, you have a vague idea of what the traffic is like. It's not great. It's not the worst, I think, but it's definitely not good. Usually when you're driving, you have at least a couple people who just kind of zoom, like the aggressive drivers that try and squeeze through everyone and all that stuff. Usually those types of drivers, like I remember driving with that type of mindset where I'm like, oh, look at how I got myself in, I sped through this and I created the situation for myself. But on this day when I was driving, I was watching how they were swerving through other people and noticed that people were stopping and creating space for them to go through. And then this light bulb went off. I'm like, oh, I wonder if that driver, the aggressive driver, even realized that there are people helping them stay an aggressive driver. Again, they probably thought they created the situation themselves, but these strangers actually helped out in this situation. That makes me think of any time I've come across someone, I meet them, and it's like, hey, nice to meet you, and they say to me, hey, like, nice to meet you as well. I've heard so many good things about you. I'm like, who's talking about me? right? Like that always kind of weirds me out, but who's talking about me? But then to realize these people are saying good things about me, which actually helps me level up in ways that I can't do for myself. And so what are these unknown things, right? If you're more religious or something, it's like, how has God blessed you? Or something along those terms as well. What are things that are unknown? And actually just spending a lot of time and realizing that there are probably things that you've been blessed with that you're just not aware of, right? Nobody is truly a self-made man or woman. Other people have always helped you along the way, and to have gratitude for that. Fourth category is having gratitude for yourself. If your initial reaction to that statement is, oh, that sounds so arrogant, that's so egotistical, hear me out. What I've found for myself, and I've seen this with a lot of clients I've worked with and just friends in general, is there's not a whole lot of self-love and self-respect. And a lot of that is driven by that comparison game of like, oh, look at your friend who's doing this, right? Oh, look at your sibling or, a family friend or something who's so much further. And there's this constant feeling of like, I'm not good enough. At the end of the day, self-love can only be given by yourself. That's why it's self-love. Anything else is outside validation. And so to really build yourself up, and for me to build myself up and grow my own confidence, I had to start looking at where I was good and where I was improving, how I was improving, and then actually having gratitude for that. Again, if I did something really well, hey, like I crushed that interview, or that presentation I did amazing, or it's like, hey, I really showed up today as a dad. Like those are moments that I need to pause and have gratitude for. And even that last example, hey, I was a great dad, that may not be something a parent regularly thinks about because they're just worried, hey, did I do this? Hey, did I mess my child up, right? Am I creating trauma for them or something? Are they gonna need therapy when they grow up? We're so used to catching the bad, especially in what we do, that we don't actually see the good in ourselves. And so not only do you want to catch the stuff that's going good, but where are you actually trying and improving? So I had a coach and mentor who said this, if you're going to compare, again, comparison in general is not great because usually we're comparing to something better, but if you're going to compare to a past version of yourself, because then you can actually see how far you've come along. Where I am actually right now, we were here last year. We're here for like a Thanksgiving getaway. Actually, as I was walking out here, I remember what life looked like last year, and it was very, very different. And even just coming here and setting up, I got to think about how I've grown over the last year. I'm like, wow, you've done a lot. Maybe business isn't where you wanted it to be. Maybe relationships could be better. I could have more of this or that. But the idea was I've changed a lot in the last year, and I have that to be grateful for. And I should be grateful for myself because I'm the one who did the work. And so what are you doing? How are you changing? How are you showing yourself gratitude? Because you absolutely deserve it. So I wanted to make this video because, as I mentioned earlier, I'm here in Clear Lake for Thanksgiving. Right? And so this week is Thanksgiving week for us here in America, and that obviously got me thinking about gratitude, right? It's a time to give thanks. And so I wanted to share some thoughts to all you guys. I don't know when you're watching this, but I'm very thankful for whoever is watching this. I really hope that when you see this, you'll leave some comments or message me in some way and let me know your thoughts, right? What is your gratitude practice? If you need help with it, right? Share some thoughts, ask me some questions. I'd love to connect and talk more with you. But thank you so much for watching. Click subscribe below, and also check me out on the other social media as well. Thank you so much, guys. So much love for y'all. Happy Thanksgiving.